Hello everyone, I'm Kat from the Littlestown Library of the Adams County Library System, and welcome to today's Tiny Art for Adults and Teens. Today we are going to be doing a Celtic Spring. Since March is Women's History Month, and also Irish American Heritage Month and Youth Art Month. So we're doing art for Youth Art Month, a Celtic theme for Irish heritage, and the symbol, the triple spiral or triskelion, is actually a symbol of femininity in Celtic mythology. So that is the design that we're doing today, and if you signed up for an art kit, then you will receive the following: one blank 4x4 canvas, a tiny easel, one paintbrush, a stencil, so that way you don't have to try to draw a triple spiral by hand, and then 6 paint pots with the following colors: dark green, light green, yellow, black, white, and brown. So that is what you will receive if you signed up for an art kit. I also recommend that when you get started, or ready to get started for painting, that you have some paper towels, one to put down so you don't get paint everywhere, and another one to clean your paintbrush. I also recommend a container to hold clean water in to clean your brush. And something that's helpful is if you have any plastic lids, a paper plate, something like that to use as your paint palette if you need to mix any colors. So that is what you'll get. So that's what I recommend with that. You're also welcome to use your own art supplies if you did not sign up for an art kit. Without further ado, let's get painting. Alrighty, so we are going to go ahead and get started. First, you want to go ahead and wet your brush just a little bit so you can get the paint on there a little bit easier. And then we're going to take some of the dark green and we are going to brush that around the edges here. So we got to lay a good background down before we get into the rest of it. So go ahead and use this, and we'll be blending it with some of the other colors, but just go ahead and kind of lay it down in sort of a circular fashion, just around the edges here. And it's okay if things aren't, whoops, got the wrong green there. It's okay if you, if it looks kind of swirly and messy, that's totally fine. If you want to leave brush strokes in there, you can, so it looks a little more wild, then you can do that. If you'd rather smooth it out, then you can do that as well, whatever works for you. And let's see, it looks really, and it looks almost, it might look almost black on your screen. One of these days I've got to get a better light set up, but it's actually just a dark green at the moment. So make sure you get the edges of your canvas if you have edges, so that way it just looks more organic. And we'll just go ahead and all around the edges. circular motion. Making it a more or less even-ish circle here. Okay. And get my corners here, edges. All right, and then we want to take sorry, I'm just adjusting my light, see if I can show it a little bit better. I know there's some glare, but okay, so now you want to go ahead, clean your brush and get a little bit of black, just a tiny bit, and blend that in, just in like the corners and along the edge. If you need to get some more green, more of the dark green, you can do that too. Just so that way we have a nice dark corners here. So that'll make the middle pop a little more, because it's all about contrast. Get a little more dark green to mix in. Contrast and blending. That's the name of the game. We're going to be doing a bunch of that today. Okay. So I'm getting a little bit more black just along the edge here. And you can have as much or as little as you want. If you don't want any black and you just want to use the just the dark green on the corners around the edge, you certainly can do that. That is up to you. I just want mine a little bit more, have a little bit more contrast there. So a little bit more of the dark green, just to blend. So that's nice and dark. And then I'm going to get some of my lighter green and put that in here. And don't worry, we will be doing more blending, no worries. But first just want to lay down some of that and then get into blending that with the darker green. More of the light green. And now I'm going to get some more dark green and just blend a little more of that around here. It's almost like an Alice in Wonderland kind of look, like you're falling down the rabbit hole. Okay, now I'm going to get a little more of the light green. Put that in here. Then a little dab of white and another dab of light green, so that way we have this sort of bright center. And again, you can swirl it more if you'd like, if you want to do more blending. If you want to have more texture to it, you can. If you want to have it more smooth, you can do that too. because you don't want the light center to be too big, because that'll make it harder for the yellow of the triple spiral to stand out. So that's why I'm just kind of doing more blending with the light green, and I think I want some more dark green out here. And if you're ever unhappy with how something's turned out, you can always wait until it dries and then go back over it again. You're not bound to any particular thing. If you don't like how it looks, wait till it dries and then paint over it, although that may require some more layering, so just be aware of that. But you can do whatever you want in terms of how you want this this Celtic Spring to turn out. So, whoops, I got a little bit of dark green in there by accident. Just make sure, yeah, if you're going between different colors, make sure that you don't do what I just did and drag a bunch of dark into the center of your pale in the middle there, because yeah, that can make a little bit of a mess. And tiny bit of light in here just to lighten it up. And I just want a little bit of light green up here just to make it a little bit more symmetrical. And just add some more. Alrighty, so I think I am pretty happy with that. So now we just need to let this dry completely, since this is our background. So let it dry completely, and then we will get our stencil out for the next portion. Alrighty, so once your canvas is completely dry, you'll probably want to take it off the easel if you were using it on the easel and place it flat for this next part, because that'll be a lot easier. So you'll want to take your stencil and place that on your canvas wherever it is that you want the triple spiral to be, and then we're going to make sure our brush is very clean and take some yellow, and we're going to paint over the stencil. Now it's okay if things get a little bit messy. I know the stencils aren't perfect, so we'll have to do some touch up afterwards. So just do a little bit at a time. And so get some yellow there, and then we're just gonna lightly brush, and we might have to do 2 layers since this is a lighter color and then there's the green. So just do it lightly, and if you happen to have a smaller brush, that might make this easier. But yeah, but we'll do the best we can. It's okay if it's not perfect. So I'm just kind of going, sort of sweeping across like this, and that seems to be working out okay. The little curly cues can get a little bit tricky, but we'll make do. If you kind of like brush it across, then it also kind of puts your, makes your stencil stay down as well. So let me go ahead and finish with that. Alrighty, one moment. Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit more yellow on that part here. Okay, so let's gently pull up the stencil. And look at that. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? All right. Ooh, that looks so pretty. And again, as you can see, there's a little bit of blurring in a couple spots, but that's okay because we can totally touch those up. Which again will probably be easier with the canvas lying flat as opposed to on the easel, because this is a little bit more delicate, and I'm just using the edge of my brush to add on some more paint, and we'll probably do another layer on this, and then we can include highlights and other things. If you have a smaller brush that you want to use rather than the one that's in the kit, that's totally fine. That'll probably be a little bit easier as well. Right now I'm just making do with the edge of my brush and just doing a little bit of paint at a time to put the extra paint on. So just gonna touch up a little bit. Yeah, that's turning out real nice. That's not bad at all. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and let that dry, and then we'll see if we need to put on another layer, or if we can just go straight to giving it like the shadows and the highlights. So we're going to go ahead and let that dry for probably about 5-10 minutes, something like that. And then we will return for possibly the final coat, but that depends on how we're doing there. So go ahead and clean off your brush nice and well, and we'll be back in about 5-10 minutes. Alrighty, so now that the paint has dried, we're going to go ahead and add a little bit more just to make it a little sharper and a little brighter. So again, just lightly brushing and adding. Whoop. Oh, I've got some stray hairs here. And again, I'm just using the edge of my brush to do this part. There you can see the edges are a little bit more distinct. Now that we've added some more yellow to make it stand out from the background a little more. Which it might be a little bit difficult to tell in the video. Hopefully that's turning out okay so you can see it. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to clean off our brush, and we're going to take a tiny bit of brown, and preferably on your palette, put that aside, and then add some yellow to it, and then mix it. More yellow than brown, because we just want to darken it up just a little bit, because we're trying to just give the edges a little bit more three-dimensionality, so just a little bit of a darker edge. So you should have kind of like a mustard sort of color when you mix the yellow and the brown. And you can just kind of go along the edge, and it's okay if it's just a little bit or if it kind of disappears. It's just to give a little tiny bit of an edge and three-dimensionality to the spiral, to make it look a little bit more like it's like a gold statue almost. And if you just want to kind of dab along the edges, like if you get the paint on the very edge of your brush and then you just kind of want to dab along the side, you can do that. That seems to be working out a little bit. Yep, that seems to be working out with mine. So just kind of doing a little bit of a dab right along the edges. And you might need to take some more brown and some more yellow to mix that together so you can get some more of that. Alrighty, and just dab along the edge. Get some more of that mustard color if you need it. And it doesn't have to be like a continuous line either. It can just be, you know, in a few spots, just to give it that, feel. Like on some of the interior curls and such. Kind of giving that a little bit of, just giving it a little bit of depth. Here and there. And again, if there's any spots that you're like, oh wait, I don't like that, then you can just paint back over it with the regular yellow. That's totally fine, whatever works for you. like this spot right here, I have a little bit too much brown, so I'm going to clean my brush really well and just get some regular yellow to touch that up, because that's looking a little patchy. And again, it's just a little bit. If you have a smaller brush, that's a lot easier, but and if you decide you just don't want to even mess with that, then that's totally fine too. If you like it just with the plain yellow. But I'm gonna go ahead and touch up this section. And that section right there. So you can always touch up if there's something, or if there's a section you don't like, or if it doesn't feel bright enough to you, then you can always go back and touch up a little bit. That's the wonderful thing about acrylic paint, is once it dries, then you pretty much have carte blanche to do whatever you want. So that makes it a nice medium to work with, far more forgiving than some of the other mediums out there. So, okay, so now I'm going to get a little bit of white, just pure plain white, and just make a couple highlights in a few spots. So I'm just gonna get the edge of my brush, and I'm just gonna do like a highlight up there, and I'm gonna do another one here, and just a tiny bit. Oh, that white's showing up really bright on the camera, but doesn't look quite that bright in mine. So, but just a couple spots just to kind of make it look a little more like there's light shining off of it. So yeah, it's but again, if you don't want to bother with that, if you just want to keep it just plain, then plain yellow, then that is totally fine. I'm going to add a little bit more yellow to some spots to make it a little bit brighter in between things. It's the one thing, since green and yellow are kind of opposite in some ways, then it can be a little more difficult to, sometimes they kind of sink into each other, especially as they dry. So yeah, so just add a couple. And if you decide that you want to add more Celtic imagery or Irish imagery, if you want to add any other like 4-leaf clovers or some more green, or if you want to add anything like that, you are certainly welcome to do so. I am not going to do that with mine. I'm just going to leave it with the Triskelion, with the triple spiral in the middle there. So yeah, so I think that is it. And again, the white's turning out really, really bright on my camera, but it's actually much more subtle in person. So don't be surprised if yours looks a little bit different. So with that being said, we have a triple spiral for our Celtic Spring. And I hope that you enjoyed this tiny art.